My name is Patricia Wilson. I'm 62 years old, and I went to bed at 23 and woke up at 62. I don't know how that happened. It just seemed it was that fast. I work at a place called Buddies and Bad Times Theater, which is the world's largest theater, gay and lesbian and alternative queer theater. I play in a rock band that I started in 2003 with Drew Rossum, and we've been together since then, still active. I write on the side songs and play on the side, and I'm in the middle of a book. So, and I live with the old lady, Alain Ducharme. We've been together, so we found out just before we started this interview, we've been together 24 years. And, you know, with 2 dogs, it's a great life, and we're happy, and we live in Toronto, Ontario. I mean, anybody growing up that wanted to make extra money in the summer, as long as you were 18, you could work at the auto plant. My father was a steam fitter, a tradesperson in the plant, and he helped me get in, and I worked in the foundry, working on what they call core. They were sand cores that they eventually poured the hot metal in to make the pistons. I didn't have the story, you know, oh my God, it's awful and stuff like that. It was, you know, although, you know, obviously, if you look at the camera, if you're watching this, you're going to realize that I'm trans. After I transitioned in Windsor while I was working. Like, I changed overnight. Like, on a weekend. On Friday, I was male, and then I did the transition the following Monday. And, oh, it was a shit show. It was a fucking shit show, but I knew it would be. And in my mind, I mean, I just didn't decide to do it. I was going through doctors and everything, and I was already on, you know, hormone treatment and stuff. But I thought, if I did this transition the way I just spoke about, that'll be the worst life ever fucking gets. And it was the worst I've ever had. So, yeah, it was a real shit show. I was a welder when I transitioned, and it was fucked up. It was, but you know, I also found out who my friends were. My family ran from me. For my family and I were not, including my father, knew. I think I told my father when I was 16 years old, and he was cool with it, even though he was, like, you know, small town guy working in the Windsor plant, but he was fine with it. He literally said to me, if that's what you need to do to be happy. That was my father's gig. My mother, she took it personally, as though, you know, I was, at one point she even said I was doing it to get back at her for something. But, you know, not her fault. Back then, this is in 70s, 80s maybe, because I didn't have any support at all. I didn't even tell anybody except one person, I think, or 2 people, that I was going for my surgery. I didn't tell anybody. I told them, some people I told I was going for knee surgery or something. It wasn't.
So it's important to you to kind of work in the gay community?
No, I don't give a shit. I really don't give a shit. It's just I love working in the gay community, and it means so much to me. The gay community means so much to me, and especially the kids, because I think kids today have it harder than they ever did. This, you know, all the bullshit that we've come so far. That's just a wall being pulled over everybody's eyes. Don't believe that we've come any farther. Just because you can get married doesn't mean that we've made anything. You know, that's just their way of controlling you. Because you become familiar. You're doing something familiar to the ruling class, right? That's just a means of control, letting you get married. It was like, you know, the two things about being married, I mean, the two things about being gay that were the best was you didn't get drafted and you didn't have to get married. Now, you can fucking get drafted and you can get married. Like, what the fuck, right? But working in the gay community, it's not that I like to, but it's a real gift to be able to. I don't need to do it, but it's a real gift for me. The people I see, and people disagree with me, but I feel out of this whole generation of gay, lesbian, trans, whatever the fuck people are, I'm not going through the initials of the, you know, because it'll take a half hour to go through all the initials of our community. There are some people there that are going to change the fucking world. These kids are going to change the world. You can see them. You can see them. Not the ones that are being politically correct and, you know, calling you on shit, but the ones with real heart and real art. There's a real art to some of these queer kids. They're going to change the world. That's more important than being married or taking care of those kids. So I am privileged to be in the community. I don't have to, but it's a real privilege for me. You know, and I think there's a lot of people hiding their head in the sand, thinking that because we've got rights, you can get married, you can do this, you can do that, that things are better. Things are not better, right? Just because you're not getting beat up on the streets, which we still are, doesn't mean that you're not getting beat up emotionally. No, we're fucked up. We're eating our own paws off, like we're caught in a fucking trap. That's what our community is doing. So that's what's changed. When we were a younger community, when I was younger, everything was out in the open. We talked about it. We were trying to fix things. We were trying to, we knew we were fucked up. We knew we were being beat up. We knew that we had no rights. But now that we have some of that, we're ignoring the problems that still exist, which I just listed. And I think that we are in more danger as a community than we ever were, because people aren't realizing that the problems haven't been fixed. What is it? The gay community in Toronto changing. How has it changed since I came here? Well, first of all, there's a fuck of a lot more trans people than when I got here. I swear to fucking God, I don't know if it's in the water or if there's a satellite beaming trans genes down onto the planet Earth, but I didn't think there could be that many fucking trans people. Where gender is way more than male, female. Gender is now its own, I don't know how to explain it, but that's changed. And I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm saying that I'm 62 years old and I really have to fucking try and understand one more thing, right? Do I really have to? But I try, I don't always get it right. And I'm not even gonna pretend, but if it's gonna make somebody happy, that's all that counts, right? When you get up in the morning, you look in the mirror, you gotta be fucking happy. And if you're not, then you gotta change whatever it takes to make you happy when you get up in the morning. Sometimes it just takes a bunch of flowers to look at. Other times it's a little more radical. My generation, it used to be that if you were trans, that you always wanted that white picket fence dream, right? So, and back then, your doctors tried to force you into that. Because they wanted you to be as normal as possible. I mean, you're already fucked, right? You're a tranny. So you're already fucked. You're never gonna be normal no matter what. Maybe even if you pass, you still have the scars of your journey, right? But even the doctors tried to push you into a normalcy, and so they deep down inside wanted you to have be heterosexual kind of, and a white picket fence. So at that point, I was almost forced to put the rock away and skirts and high heels and that kind of stuff. I worked for offices and stuff, but it didn't last all that long. Slow but sure. And after a year here, and realized that buddies didn't expect that from me, that all fell away. I was playing in bands in Windsor before I even transitioned, so not very well. I did not get into it as deeply as I am until I moved here, because there were more people for me to play with, and people that, I mean, the thing about me in bands, I only want to play with people that are better than me. I don't want to be better than anybody in my band. I want them to be better than me, because then I'm learning, right? The second you stop learning, then you might as well quit, right? Your sense of humor and learning, that's what you have to keep in order to get through. The rest is, I wouldn't say it qualifies as history, but it's definitely a story,